they are perhaps being a little too online with their analysis. Time and time again, I repeat myself on those issues. Okay? Good luck with that, champ. No. It's time for bottom autumn. It's done. Brass summer is done. It's canceled. We're out. Gets funnier every time. Yeah, we're going to talk about Ben Shabibo. Elon is backing out. Elon backs down for $45 million a month, says he doesn't subscribe to the cult of personality. Yeah, it's because he's a fucking charlatan and an asshole, and he literally said he's pledging $45 million, and then Trump the next day did an entire RNC speech where he said, if you drive electric vehicles, you are a homosexual. I am going to make it illegal to drive electric vehicles. That's it. No, it's because Tesla earnings report came out and is dog shit. I mean, I'm sure that's part of it, but I mean, don't you think that that plays a role? If Elon is the key man for Tesla and he's like openly pledging donations to a fucking president, a presidential candidate who's saying, I'm going to tackle the electric vehicles problem, don't you think that that would actually also hurt Tesla's stock options? Like, I don't get it. He's so fucking stupid. Genuinely one of the stupidest people. Oh my God. Guess we know where he lands on the bell curve. Ugh. Make America greater again. Dude, you're 58 years old. Why are you posting this meme? Why are you posting any memes? Go take care of your like 11 children. Speaking of his children, by the way, here, let's get to the other Elon Musk story. What a fucking freak he is. Elon Musk discusses puberty blockers and says, I lost my son due to what he calls the woke mind virus. Elon Musk went on Daily Wire and was interviewed by Jordan Peterson. This is what he had to say.
It wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son, essentially.
He's also like misgendering his daughter. Just a sick freak, dude. Can you imagine? I think this, like, I'm not kidding. I think this type of shit is like maybe somewhat appealing to like the most brain broken people in the Republican Party. But this honestly is like it's so ruthless and gross. Like, I don't think you want to be coming out and being like, I abandoned my trans daughter. Like, I literally, like, it's just demon shit. Like, you should be embarrassed.
They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
I'm sorry to hear.
Killed by the woke mind virus. We are an utterly unserious country filled to the brim with utterly unserious sociopaths. You have the richest man on the planet until recently. Okay? The richest man on the planet until recently, fucking with not even a shred of irony, like not even a little bit like joking, saying the woke mind virus killed my trans daughter. Talking to Jordan Peterson wearing the worst suit you've ever seen. Like these are such ridiculous people, bro. I'm sorry. These are such unserious, ridiculous, brain broken people. How are these people respected?
About that in relationship to sacred images.
Okay.
Okay, well, the sacred image of masculinity in the West is a crucifixion, but a man who's crucified. But the sacred image of a woman isn't a woman. The sacred image of a woman is a woman and an infant, right? It's a dyad and not a monad.
Sure.
Right. And in the Christian view, those two images, you know, they vie for supremacy, right? I mean, obviously, Christ is the superordinate image, but Mary, as the mother of God, is the female equivalent. And so one of the things I've been playing with at an axiomatic level is the notion that unless the feminine is conceptualized as the combination of female and infant, then the culture has lost its attachment to the traditional sacred images and is probably on its way out.
Yeah.
So
yeah. He can even fake it. I have a lot of Zennial friends that fall for this type of shit, and I think it's a bad mix of lead and online poisoning. What? What is he saying? Xavier is born gay and slightly autistic, two attributes that contribute to gender dysphoria. I knew that from when he was about 4 years old. He would pick out clothes for me to wear like jacket and tell me it was fabulous, as well as his love of musicals and theater, but he was not a girl. All clips from this interview are fucking insane. 80 gloriously unhinged seconds in which Jordan Peterson tries to sell Elon Musk on the carnivore diet. Dude, this interview is awesome. I kind of want to watch this fucking thing now. Every part of this is like a genuine shit show. What the fuck happened?
That, although the final thing that caused some back and shoulder injuries was me foolishly fighting the world champion sumo wrestler and charging him at him at full speed to knock him over, which I did succeed in doing, but
you paid a price for it.
A very high price.
Carnivore diet will fix that.
The what? Sorry.
The carnivore diet will fix that.
Look, I like meat. I'm pro meat. I don't think a carnivore diet is going to fix this particular issue. I think.
My wife had an injury of 40 years, and it resolved in 2 years on a carnivore diet.
If you just eat steak or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
all beef.
Sure. I'm a pro. I like meat, but I think this is I think I'll probably need an operation or something. But anyway.
I'd try the carnivore diet first.
Sure.
Anyways, that did happen to her.
Okay.
She couldn't lift her left arm above here. It took 40 years, and in 2 years it resolved.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was something to see. It also rejuvenated her physically in a variety of different ways that were quite miraculous to watch.
Yeah.
And that hasn't stopped. So that's a weird thing, and I would have never believed it if I hadn't seen this because it's so preposterous.
Sure.
Anyways, I'm not going to proselytize about the carnivore diets.
Yeah.
Honestly, if Elon is your dad, you're lucky to get abandoned by him. Shitty dad reactionary weirdo pipeline has never been stronger. I mean, it's never gone away. It's always been there. And it will continue to be there. You know what I mean? This was the heyday of like the the weird conservative guy who's like who presents himself as an intellectual is so funny.
Sure. Sure.
Why does anyone respect Jordan anymore? I could have maybe seen it 7-8 years ago, but now man has completely lost his marbles. No, he always had his marbles lost. It's just he was better at like framing himself as an intellectual. He certainly used to moderate his positions and like sometimes even say that he was a liberal, and he was very wishy-washy. One of my permanent locks, by the way, one of my oldest I told you so moments was when I would rip into Jordan Peterson and get yelled at all the fucking time. Technically, he still knows his stuff in textbooks. His personal shit is whack. Degrees, he still has his degrees. Didn't he lose one? No, didn't he lose his like teaching position actually? You have a great video going over all of his old stuff. Remember Jordan Peterson? Yeah, this was in November 2020 when he was like, I think, dying of COVID. But even before then, like I have older videos, much older videos, like when he first came in. When he first became like famous, I had a video. I don't know if I refer to it here. I might. No, it doesn't seem like it. But I have like an older video where I actually talk about his transphobia. I used to have to literally walk viewers off the ledge on Jordan Peterson. 3 Arrows and myself, there was a collab that we did way back in the day. Let me see if I can find that real quick. That was another banger. HasanAbi and 3 Arrows changed Jordan Peterson fans' mind from 6 years ago at this point, not even 5. Yeah. November 30th, 2018. Where we walk him through the steps of Jordan Peterson's like Nazi rhetoric. But let's go further beyond. At TYT, where the fuck is it? Why can't I find it? Oh, here, I think this is it. Oh, here, this is it. This is it.
What do you think?
Jordan Peterson is not a conservative transphobe. December 30th, 2018. Anyway. You misspoke. I didn't misspoke. It was bait, chatters. What the fuck do you mean? I don't understand the logic. Regurgitating what others are allowed to say and believe is not equality, it's tyranny. Hasan has gotten so much better with his Peterson impression in the last 5 years. These are from 5 months ago. Watching Hasan's TYT vids reminds me of 90s news anchors. Problem is, even from a psychology perspective, this guy has no clue what he's talking about. His entire playbook is outdated. And the only reason he did so well as a self-help guy / lecturer is because of the confidence that only weird cult leaders have. Yeah. Straight up. I remember watching the Hasan YouTube video when I was like 12. Lamau, Jesus Christ. Holy shit. Ruining the minds of the youth. One step at a time, baby. I will never stop. Feel me? I will never stop ruining the minds of the youth.
Anyways, that did happen to her.
Okay.
She couldn't lift her left arm above here. It took 40 years, and in 2 years it resolved.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was something to see. It also rejuvenated her physically in a variety of different ways that were quite miraculous to watch.
Yeah, yeah.
And that hasn't stopped.
That video collab with 3 Arrows was the first video of yours I ever saw. It changed my life's trajectory. That's crazy. That is like a thing.
So that's a weird thing, and I would have never believed it if I hadn't seen this because it's so preposterous.
Sure.
Anyways,
Okay.
I'm not going to prosell.
Okay, come on, move on. What is he wearing? I just noticed. That's Mary on his jacket. Yeah. Trump just lying. Wait, what is this? I don't know who said it or where it came from, perhaps the radical left, but I never discussed or thought of Jamie Dimon or Larry Fink for Secretary of Treasury. A future Trump Treasury Secretary, he is somebody that I would consider for sure. He was at the meeting. Tim Cook was right next to him. You know, we had everybody. He's talking about Jamie Dimon. But I would like to get it down to 15 if we could, because that would put us in the absolute lowest terms of incentive. That meaning we had, I don't know, 70 all CEOs, the top guys. That was a love fest. I will tell you when I'm not loved because I feel that better than anybody. But that was a love fest. And it was reported by some people so wrong. Actually, CNBC called and apologized to me because they found out. But we had a great meeting. Jamie Dimon was there. I have a lot of respect for Jamie Dimon, a future Trump Treasury Secretary. He is, referring to Jamie Dimon, somebody that I would consider, sure. All right, let's do the Ben Shabibo thing first, and then we'll dive into Jordan Peterson talking to fucking Elon Musk, because I want to, and then we'll do the VP tier list as well. So Kamala Harris's first day of campaigning did not go well is the title of Ben Shapiro's video. However, in the real world, I would say raising $80 million just by raising $80 million without even saying your first word as the presidential candidate is pretty solid, I think. But let's see what he had to say.
Kamala Harris did a campaign event. It was really for her own staffers. And she led off by praising Joe Biden. This, by the way, is going to be the chief vulnerability for Kamala Harris. We'll discuss all of her vulnerabilities in a moment. She is not a strong candidate. But her chief vulnerability is she's the vice president of a wildly unpopular administration. This administration does not have a list of accomplishments Americans like. It is amazing to watch all these people come out of the woodwork and declare that Joe Biden actually has been an amazing president. Now, a minute ago, they said he was really bad at presidenting. Then he dropped out, and suddenly he's an amazing president. Why? Well, they have to flip the narrative. If it turns out he's a crappy president and that Kamala Harris is his crappy vice president, well, then probably she's not a very good candidate. So here is Kamala Harris at the campaign event last night suggesting that Joe Biden has a legacy of accomplishments, which is wild since his main accomplishment is just beating Donald Trump. And then his secondary accomplishment, apparently, according to Democrats, is dying in a debate and dropping out of the race. Here's Kamala Harris.
Our president, Joe Biden, wanted to be here today. He is feeling much better and recovering fast, and he looks forward to getting back on the road. And I wanted to say a few words about our president. Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history.
You people are mean? Wait, why are we mean? What do we say?
Oh, boy. How'd you like 4 years of that? Maybe.
Okay, if I'm Ben Shapiro and I sound like I have to be shoved into a locker at any moment, I probably won't be making fun of the way people, sound all too much. What's really interesting about this is it's basically like Ben Shapiro making fun of someone for their height. You know what I mean? Oh, that person is objectively too short to be president. It's like, bro, have you seen yourself? Like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, that's crazy. Oh, I can't wait to hear 4 years of that.
8 years of that. Would you love that? Would you love 8 years of that right there? By the way,
solid attack, Ben. You got this.
His accomplishments are burning the Middle East to a crisp, lighting Ukraine.
Yo. No, you're not allowed. Dude. Someone should send this video to Joe Biden and be like, this is what America's #1 ultra Zionist thinks about what you had to do in terms of the active genocide that you facilitated in Gaza. Okay? Just saying. I bet he means like, Tel Aviv got drone striked or something, and that's somehow Biden's fault. Well, I guess it is because he didn't stop Israel too early.
Rain on fire, destroying the economy via inflation, destroying whatever possibility there was of building of social fabric through radical social policy. I mean, truly, name the magical accomplishments of Joe Biden other than elevating Kamala Harris to the nomination via proxy. Because again, she has received 0, count them 0 Democratic primary votes ever in her entire life.
Yeah, but she was on the ticket that won the election. You know what I mean? You could say she's untested, but that's a fear for the Democrats. That's not a concern, or shouldn't be a concern for the Republicans, because you should be excited at the prospect of going up against someone who is so untested and possibly so bad.
And now she's the nominee for the president of the United States. So what is her campaign against Donald Trump going to be? She says that she's going to prosecute Trump. Honestly, like, really, this is all you got in the can? Seriously, this is what you got? So Democrats have been trying this crap since 2015. Since 2015, the idea has been Donald Trump is an out-of-the-box criminal, and we are going to prosecute the case against Donald Trump. Okay, guys, good luck with that. Seriously. Kamala Harris, they are trying to make fetch happen by selecting Kamala Harris. And she is trying to make fetch happen by going after Donald Trump on a prosecutorial basis. This is the kind of stuff that jazzes up a very, very small wing of the Democratic base and literally no one else. Here's Kamala Harris.
In the days.
No, I think Donald Trump being branded a convicted felon definitely makes a lot of people in the margins, especially in America, who are incredibly fucking reactionary when it comes to criminal justice, go, I'm never voting for a felon. Straight up. I would absolutely vote for a felon, by the way. I don't give a fuck about that sort of shit at all. But I wouldn't say that I'm the average American voter.
Days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election. As many of you know, before I was elected as vice president, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California, and before that I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
No, she's going to prosecute the president of the...
By the way, this is why I say it's like the lane is wide open for like a charismatic right winger. Because like, this is it. This is the best you get. That's why I always say it's like fucking ridiculous that people are like, oh, you're a leftist grifter. It's like, dude, I would fucking clean house. If I wanted to grift, I would grift on the right. I wouldn't grift on extra difficulty mode, okay? Like, this is 3 minutes and 34 seconds, and all he's done so far is like, like he's just made these weird noises to be like, that's how Kamala sounds like. That's horrible. You are a fucking nerd, brother. What are you doing? You're not supposed to be out here making fun of people's voices. I do that shit. Okay? You're supposed to be the intellectual, not the fucking himbo, you know?
Is she, though? I mean, she was a really bad prosecutor, by the way. If you don't believe me, go watch episode 1 of our series, Scamala, which is all about Kamala Harris. You can go watch that over at Daily Wire Plus right now when you use that 47% off and become a subscriber. Again, it's everything you need to know about.
Damn, they must be on hard times.
Kamala Harris. We were prepared for Kamala Harris to be the nominee.
As a Jewish person, I'm annoyed he can't write proper jokes. Brother, that's like his point of radicalization. Literally. Like, you're just describing why he became a right-wing guy. He was a dude in Hollywood, like living in Los Angeles, that tried to make it in Hollywood, failed because he was an objectively bad writer. A failed screenwriter who then, took all of that animosity that he felt towards Hollywood and turned it into like right-wing reactionary sentiment.
Full on 2 weeks ago, which is why we cut that series. Okay, that is not, okay, try it. Seriously, try it. You're going to prosecute. Donald Trump has 100% name recognition. 100%. No one's perception of Donald Trump is going to change from here on out.
True. And that's not a good thing for Trump. That's a very bad thing for Trump.
The question is, can Kamala Harris generate any enthusiasm? And honestly, I haven't seen so much fake enthusiasm for anything in American public life.
Bro, what are we talking about? Dude, you say facts don't care about your feelings. It's literally a sticker on your laptop. Obviously, tracking enthusiasm is a rather difficult thing to do. Except there is so much fucking momentum in that direction that you immediately saw, okay? Not a Kamala Glazer, not coconut pilled or whatever, just stating facts here. $250 million total raised, with 80 million of that 250 coming straight from small donors through the Act Blue portal. 60% of those donations are first-time donators. Okay? 80 million. Donald Trump got shot. He couldn't raise that kind of money. 80 million in one fucking day, just because, before she even said anything, just because it wasn't Joe Biden. Okay? That's it. The Democrats were like, oh my God, thank God. 83% of Democrats, after this decision was made, said they were excited at the prospect of the ticket changing. 83%. What are we doing? What are we saying? Is the media routinely lying about how much of a carcass Joe was and tried to keep him in the race desperately till the very last moment? Or are they lying now about the momentum? Which one is it?
Since Beyonce dropped her last album. The amount of fake ersatz enthusiasm Democrats are trying to gin up, and you can feel it. You can feel it's not real. You can feel they're trying to whip themselves into a lather over Kamala Harris. But there's a phrase that's historically been used about politics. Which,
did you say so Ben Shapiro isn't smart? I don't think Ben Shapiro is stupid. I just think he's bad as a propagandist on this issue. I don't like Ben Shapiro. I don't agree with Ben Shapiro. I don't think he is a good person. I don't like his worldview, but I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a smart guy who is very dishonest. And that's it.
Which is that Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line. In this election, it's precisely the reverse. Republicans love their candidate. Overall, Republicans love Trump. They have loyalty to Trump. Democrats are falling in line. No one loves Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has run for president before. She was such a terrible candidate that everyone, including Politico, ran full pieces on how awful her candidacy was. Then she was such a terrible vice president that half her staff quit.
Yeah. He's not wrong about any of this stuff. All of this stuff is correct. Except it doesn't matter because she's now the candidate and Democrats love falling in line. Okay. People say Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line, but fuck no. Democrats also love falling in line when the general election comes around. Okay. And the general election was here And in spite of all of the attitude and the motivation that the Democrats demonstrate on a regular basis, okay? Yeah, also, staff turnover is pretty funny when talking about Trump on the other side of the ticket as well. You're not wrong. Trump's staff turnover is 92%. Half of them are in jail, and the ones that aren't in jail are fucking actively in witness protection, speaking out against them. Sometimes they are both in jail and also speaking out against them, like the last court case that happened in New York. You know. Any thoughts on anti-Kamala discourse on leftist Twitter? Do you think she's a more progressive candidate than Biden, or do you think she's going to, or do you think she's going to do genocide but girly pop? I mean, I think she is definitely more to the left of Biden, at least like with the way that she tailored her political career. Having said that, however, genocide but girly pop is probably the likely scenario. But if she wants to win, she can't do that. If she wants to win, she can't do the genocide but girly pop shit. Also, liberals are so funny, or not liberals, sorry, leftists are so funny on Twitter where they're like, oh, dude, I can't believe it. Like, Kamala Harris is a cop. It's like, yeah, I know, dude. Also, the last president and the current president right now, as a matter of fact, is a fucking segregationist, dude. What are we talking about? Like, he's not personally a segregationist. Yes, he was the VP of a black president, which did a lot for him in terms of like the way he is looked at by everybody. But he eulogized the segregationist, and he actually wrote pro-segregation legislation, and on top of that was responsible for the crime bill. So, you know, he was Jim Crow Joe for a reason. So, you know.
She's truly bad at this, and we shouldn't remember how bad she is at this. So all this sort of desperate hope that you're seeing in Democratic circles, reality will set in, I believe, soon enough, because Kamala Harris is not a good candidate, and she has proved that repeatedly. Remember, Kamala Harris, she's only run effectively one competitive race in the last 20 years, and that was for Attorney General of the state of California. She won by 1 point. By 1 point. Then she ran a completely non-competitive race in the California Senate for the Senate seat in California against Loretta Sanchez, a fellow Democrat. And then she ran the worst presidential campaign since Rick Perry.
That's weird. You're talking about how she's like never won anything. You're talking about how she only won something against a fellow Democrat. And then you're talking about her primary defeat where she ran against other Democrats. So like, the fuck? Yeah, she lost the primary big time. Okay. And I don't think she is I don't think individually on her own, I don't think she's the type of person. She's the type of person to be able to like successfully win a primary and then go to win a general election. But we don't have to make those political calculations at this moment because she is the Democratic Party's nominee.
Listen, Kamala Harris is a terrible candidate, but then again, she was also a terrible DA. She was a terrible Attorney General of the state of California. Things got less safe under Kamala Harris. Speaking of safety, as social unrest escalates and as people begin to fear crime more and more, securing the safeness of your family is more crucial than ever. Now, listen, I'm a big Second Amendment advocate. I own a variety of /ben. Here's Kamala Harris again, trying to make the pitch. We are not going to go back. We're not.
He and his extreme Project 2025 will weaken the middle class
Come on.
and bring us backward. America has tried.
Ben Shapiro is literally the poster boy for Project 2025. I don't know why he's saying, come on. Ben Shapiro directly regurgitates Heritage Foundation talking points. Like, that's what his job is. That's what his entire career is. Why the fuck's he acting like Project 2025 is a problem? I know he doesn't think Project 2025 is a problem.
These economic policies before. They do not lead to prosperity. They lead to inequity and economic injustice. And we are not going back.
God, she is so awful. I mean, even her juxtaposition right there of prosperity with economic injustice is truly amazing. Because, again, the opposite of prosperity is poverty. It's poverty. Right? When she says that we are going, they lead us away from.
Wow, dude. You're really killing it. Just say she has no riz. Like, you could say that she is not very energized on that speech, and she's basically repeating the exact script that Joe Biden would have read, but he was unable to read it because he couldn't read anything at that point. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, well, the opposite is prosperity. The opposite of prosperity is poverty. You're stupid.
Prosperity and toward economic injustice. Notice what she's doing there. She's doing the equity routine. You know what Americans don't like? The racialized equity routine that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have been pushing nonstop since they entered office.
What?
Her campaign, if she's actually in control of it, her only hope here is to delegate this thing.
Bro, these guys are so perma-stuck in 2016. Absolutely zero people think about, like, equality versus equity narratives anymore. Like, the IDW died out. That's not a real thing that most Americans are, like, aware of. You can't just say DEI. That's the new meta, dumbass. This is very 2016 coded to just be like, Americans want equality. They hate equity. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, they don't. They don't. Just say DEI. Just say DEI. That has equity in it. Okay? DEI literally has the word equity in it. But when you try to make these inferences into, like, equity being a bad thing because it's not equality or whatever, you know, it's not going to work.
To the Obama team. That is really her only hope here. She already got rid of the Biden team. It's not going to be Tom Donilon. It's not going to be Jen O'Malley Dillon. It's not going to be the people who got Joe Biden there because they don't like her very much and she doesn't like them. And it better not be her 2019 presidential campaign team because they were truly awful. Her only hope is to basically sit down and be quiet and let Barack Obama's people run this thing. That is her only hope. So far, that doesn't seem to be the case. So, for example, according to BBC, Kamala Harris has overhauled her campaign's online presence by embracing a social media trend inspired by pop star Charlie.
Yeah, she's not really talking about race at all, but he, like, injected race into the conversation, which is, like, weird too.
Charlie XCX's Brat album cover. The presumptive Democratic presidential nominee has scattered references to the album across her campaign's account, renaming her profile Kamala HQ. Her rebrand comes as...
It's funny how some chatters were treating you like you sounded like this yesterday. Yeah, it's because chatters are on the Kamala train, okay? Chatters are just excited for anybody but Biden. A lot of chatters in this community, a lot of people in this community are just like, they want to be hopeful. It's not going to happen for me. I've been doing this for far too long to be hopeful like that, okay? That's why I've been saying I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch. I'm not going to fucking jump to, like, hope and change. Like, I just have no confidence in that at all. Let's continue.
Charlie showed her support by treating Kamala is brat shortly after President Joe Biden announced he was stepping out of the race. By Monday morning, Harris had seized on Charlie XCX's backing, with the account sporting a new lime green photo in the style of the Brat album cover. So for those of you who have no idea what exactly brat means because, you know, you're over the age of 15, here's what brat means, according to Charlie XCX. You're just like that girl who's a little messy and likes to party and maybe says some dumb things sometimes, who feels like herself, but maybe also has a breakdown, but kind of like parties, though it is very honest, very blunt, a little bit...
I was trying to do wet ass pussy again, dude. Wet ass pussy 2.0. Chatters, remember, as a professional, this is my third election cycle. Okay? Like, I've always been a nerd and been really into politics. But, like, you have to remember, this is my third election cycle with the Democrats. Okay? It's going to be very, very hard for me to feel confident or feel hopeful about America's prospects in the same way that, like, you guys might be, because maybe this is your second election cycle. You know? Maybe it's your first election cycle. And I'm saying as a professional commentator, it's my third. It's like, obviously, I've been paying attention to American politics for much longer than that, but...
volatile, like does dumb things, but it's brat. You're brat. That's brat. Okay, that is the campaign that I desperately hope Kamala Harris continues to run. Kamala Harris as brat. Says dumb things, does dumb things, get drunk sometime, but has fun. Also, can I just explain? No one above the age of 25 in the United States knows what the F brat means. When we think brat, we think like spoil brat, like some of our children. No one thinks brat is something good. But Kamala Harris is so terminally online, so disconnected from the general public, that she believes that Charlie XCX, who, again, most people above the age of 35 have never heard of Charlie XCX. She thinks that embracing the branding of Charlie XCX is somehow good for her. That's how disconnected and terrible her campaign is. Now, for his part, Donald Trump slammed Harris as dumb as a rock on his Truth Social page. Now, again, I think he's going to have to do better than this in terms of the nickname. This is pretty... Here's what he posted. He said, wow, just watching the fake news, they're doing their very best to turn the worst president in the history of our country into a brilliant and heroic leader. He was heroic because he quit.
Dude, that's 10 minutes now. And he did not even once mention the polls that came out immediately after Kamala Harris was announced as the presidential nominee that showed 83% of Democrats saying that they were excited about the decision. Nor did he talk about the historic record-breaking fundraising from small donors, 60% of those donors being first-time donors to the Democratic Party. Like, that's data. That's the closest you can get to data in terms of enthusiasm. Okay? 250 million total with like the super PACs and big donations. But 80 million specifically on small ticket donors. Like, that's enthusiasm. That's not a bad day of campaigning. That is a phenomenal day of campaigning. As a matter of fact, if Trump had a day of campaigning like that, you would literally cover it with incredibly positive terms. You'd be like, this is the most amazing thing that just happened.
Quit and turned dumb as a rock Kamala Harris from a totally failed and insignificant vice president into a future great president. No, it just doesn't work that way. He's been trying out a few different lines on Kamala Harris. So he has called her laughing at Kamala, which, again, I recommend scam.
Made up numbers? This motherfucker spitting? Wait, you think I made those numbers up? Like, you think we're just lying about everything? Like, what? So would you, because you're honest? Yeah, like, I don't like Donald Trump. I will always tell you that I don't like Donald Trump as a president. I love him as a person. I love him as my lover. I love Donald Trump as a father. I love Donald Trump as a father, as a paternal role model. I love him as a sex icon. Okay, but as president, I don't love him. Okay, he should be never anywhere near power. Okay, he should not. He should not be anywhere near offices. It's just bad guy. Bad guy overall. Sex icon, question mark. Yes, I love him as a sexual being, because you don't understand. He's a fucking dynamo in the bedroom. I know it because I've had sex with him. He's a cum-hungry power bottom. Anyway, let's continue.
Kamala. I think that it is the best term for her. Also, I think Kamala would probably be good because she is deeply, deeply dishonest. And just a few suggestions for the president, if he is taking suggestions. He did call her this morning Lion Kamala, which again, he used lion's head, but then he also called Joe Biden Crooked Joe. So Lion Kamala is pretty good. Again, I think that's probably, and it seems like he's settling on that because he's used that multiple times this morning. He said, Lion Kamala Harris, the Biden-appointed border czar, who never visited the border and whose incompetence gave us the worst and most dangerous border anywhere in the world, has absolutely terrible poll numbers against a fine and brilliant young man named Donald J. Trump. Love that Trump calls himself a fine and brilliant young man. He's 78. Be careful what you wish for, Democrats, MAGA 2024.
There's something really unsettling about watching this fucking demon laugh or fake laugh. He's just so gross. He is like, he's just like such a robotic man. So when he tries to demonstrate any emotion that's not anger, you're like, that doesn't feel normal.
Floor. So yeah, pretty solid stuff there from President Trump. Are you tired of the lies and the twist of?
Yeah, that was not exactly a great take.
Project 2025, the 920-page policy manifesto by the conservative group, the Heritage Foundation, highlights a wish.
60% numbers for first donations this cycle, not necessarily first lifetime donation. Oh, sorry. Did I say lifetime donation? My bad. First donation this cycle. That's still pretty significant. What are we talking about? Is a first donation that like a shit ton of people made. As in they didn't donate to Biden, but they were excited about Kamala Harris.
Wish list of economic and financial plans under a potential Trump second term. While Trump has
I don't care about their I don't care about them talking about it. Anyway. Israel's Netanyahu in Washington, D.C. as Gaza fighting escalates.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in the nation's capital today ahead of a series of high-stakes meetings.